This is the road test video. It's for a Honda Accord 2.2 DTEC EX. This is the Tourer estate. Car's registered YE09FPU, and the mileage at the start of this brief road test is 75,282 miles. Reason we do these test drives, as I say in all our videos, is really just to give a bit of reassurance to those who are becoming any kind of distance to us that the car drives as it should. If there's any issues with the car, I can tell you about them before you come to us, and I will. But also just to give you kind of what you'll do when you get here, but rather than making a long trip to us and finding out there's something fundamentally wrong with the car, I can show you it in operation, and this is the very car you're going to come and see. So what I try and do really is just to mimic kind of what you'll do yourself on road test as well, and I'll go through them one by one, much as you'll do yourself as well. I always start with the engines on the car. I've started this car from cold literally a few seconds ago, and it started absolutely perfectly. No labouring, no smoke, no noises, no strange noises from the engine at all. I mean, it's a very, very well made engine, and Honda do absolutely brilliant engines, as everyone knows. And they take huge mileages, but this one pulls really, really nicely. It's a very, very sweet revving engine. These later DTECs have got rid of a lot of the startup noises that this CTDI engine used to have, which was a grand engine in its own right. But they used to have a few little whines and things from the auxiliary belts, and a lot of that has now gone on the DTECs. It's much more civilised in the lower gears. Tick over here now, whilst I'm just waiting at the lights. It's very smooth, very even. Clutch in, clutch out. I can't detect any change in noise. There's no vibrations at all from there. Looking at the dashboard as well, no warning lights on the vehicle at all, relating to the engine or anything else for that matter. So engine, as it's pretty much a given, especially with relatively low miles on the car for a diesel. It's a fantastic engine. Engine then goes to clutch and the gearbox of the car. Clutch of the car, absolutely superb, bites beautifully, exactly the right point on the clutch pedal. And as I said, there's no variation in the noise whether the clutch is in or out on the vehicle. The clutch pedal itself is very smooth in operation. There's no kind of squeaks or clicks from the ratchet or the mechanism at all. It's very, very smooth in operation. Cannot fault it. The gearbox on the car is it's a typical Honda box. It's a wonderfully engineered thing. We've never, ever, I don't want to tempt fate, but we've never touched one of these 6-speed boxes. They're very strong. They've got a lovely shift action. It's just so smooth, but it's also got a lovely mechanical feel. Lots of cars have 6-speed gearboxes, and they're all generally pretty good. What Honda managed to achieve with their boxes is the fact that they get a gearbox to feel like it's connected directly to the box, whereas like every box, or most these days, certainly on front-wheel drive cars, it'll be cables between the gear lever and the internals of the gearbox. So a lot of them can lose a lot of their precision between those 2 points. Notably, French cars can be diabolical, or they can be vague or just uninteresting to use. This is short on the throw. It's lovely precise action, but it really feels, I'm just doing it for fun, just to show you, but it's just such a lovely kind of snick gearbox. Quite short throw on them, much shorter than the previous generation Accords, so absolutely superb. So we're looking at engine, gearbox and clutch. Can't fault it, absolutely can't fault it. And brakes on the car, just make sure there's nothing behind me. Touch brakes, and wow, they're good. They're right at the top of the pedal, and they do that again, and they really do pull up straight and even. So it's just that everything underneath is good. And again, like you, I'll be looking for things like if there's any kind of pulsing on the brake pedal or sort of vibrations coming back through, that can quite often suggest a bit of wear in the brake system or distortion of the discs, but there's nothing there at all on this car. As I drive along at speed, I'm also listening out for sort of strange, odd sort of wind noises from the car, which would suggest that maybe there's a sort of windscreen badly fitted or a seal gone. But it's very hushed, very quiet, exactly as I'd expect, and I've had loads of these, so I know exactly how they should how they should be in terms of kind of the noise inside the car, and this one's very, very quiet indeed. Suspension on the car goes about its business really well. It's a very, very nice setup on the car. Quickly just point out, because that's one thing I have noticed on this car, because the windscreen wipers are absolutely shot to bits. So I'm going to get a new set of wipers put on the vehicle. It'll be picked up as part of pre-delivery inspection, but I've noticed the blades on a couple of them are, particularly on the left-hand one, not very good at all. So we'll get those attended to immediately when I get back. Get my mechanic straight onto it. So yeah, suspension of the car. It's got these new style shock absorbers on these Accords, and it's really good. You've got what is basically I say it's a comfortable to sporty ride. I like the compromise they've got with it, because that's what suspension's all about. And they've just done it right. It's very comfortable on long trips. You get flattered by some cars where they're very softly sprung, and they think, oh, they're lovely and comfortable, but then you go around a couple of corners, you're getting thrown about in seasick cars, or car-sick cars even, kids even, get there in the end. This allows this newer shape Accord to turn into corners, same speed as the old one, but slightly less lean on the car, and that's it just makes for a really very, very, very smooth, unflustered, and a very, very precise chassis as well. But I can't detect any noises that shouldn't be coming through the suspension, because obviously you're going to hear you go over bumps like you can there, but what you're not going to get, or what I'm looking for, the same as hopefully you'll be doing yourself, is what I always refer to, kind of these little aftershocks. And what that is basically a little bit of wear in the suspension, and I can't feel any in this. And what that manifests itself as normally, it's just a kind of a looseness. You sometimes get a little bit of a tick tick tapping underneath, or a little sort of like a little bit of knocking that, as it hits, it bounces again. And that can be things like sort of ball joints and anti-roll bar links, these little link arms. They're designed to wear, but they chatter away and they're quite annoying. But I cannot detect a hint of wear in the suspension of the car. It just goes about its business beautifully. Likewise, the steering tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibration coming back through the steering wheel that you don't want to come back through. It's a wonderfully precise. I'm not a huge fan of electric power steering, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I still prefer the old Accord steering in lots of ways, just for the purity of it. These new ones, however, because they're all going to it, it saves power, saves weight. I know why they've done it, but few electric power steering systems can be a little bit kind of vague and horrible. This is incredibly accurate. So they've done it very well, and in conjunction with the suspension, it just works absolutely beautifully together. Looking around the interior of the car, obviously a really lovely driver's environment. You've got this massive sat-nav system up in front of you, really crystal clear. Mounted nice and high, it's not set down too low in the dashboard, so basically as you're looking ahead now, you can pretty much make it out through your peripheral vision, but it's there, it's really easy to use. Then come down to this main bank of controls for the radio and your other functions there for the sat-nav. Dead simple to use, really high quality. Every button you press has got that lovely click action that Honda achieved beautifully. No paint sort of worn off it, which you get a lot of German manufacturers. And a nice, dead simple to use air conditioning system, dual zone. You're not going to do anything stupid sub menus to try and work out how to use it. It's just there and easy to use. Heated seat buttons down here, and they work absolutely beautifully by the gear lever, and all this is in fabulous order. The gate around there is very nice indeed. The only tiny bit of wear, I can just see a little bit of paint on just at the lower point of the gear knob there. I mean, it's minimal, so it is there, just sort of points it out. Main binnacle in front of me here, classic Honda, dead easy to read. So you've got rev counter and MPH. The temperature gauge is running at a third of the way up the gauge, which is exactly where you want it to be on these Hondas. And as I said, there's no warning lights, but it's just a nice, easy to use dashboard. Just such high quality. Don't get fooled into thinking just because Germans make the doors sound nice. that doesn't mean build quality is built into them. These are built like tanks and can take, you know, huge mileages. Clearly you've got, you know, cosmetics like, you know, wiper blades can, you know, be worn out in any car, but essentially you've got a very high quality machine here. Steering wheel, all its functions work beautifully on the car, and you know, it's such a lovely place to sit. You know, you've got massive specification on these Hondas as standard. You know, you know, got pretty much everything thrown at it. Just worth pointing out at this point, on coming towards the end of the road test now, this is the junction 14 of the M5, which is where we're very close to now. We've just moved. Our new site, the roads you're going to go on, you've just seen now, are lovely and quiet. But this is the southbound exit. If you come down the M5 or turn left up this hill, and it's literally sort of 30-40 seconds up the hill here. But I love this little sequence of bends. This is shows how good these cars are. It tucks in really nicely. But yeah, sorry, I go off on a tangent there. Yeah, basically as you're coming off the motorway, all you're going to do is literally just pop up this hill here. Your sat nav may tell you you've arrived a fraction early. Don't despair, you'll see a big lovely Victorian wall on the right hand side in a second, which I'll show you. So as you come up here, it said, depending on what sat nav you've got, it may well tell you you've arrived around about now, which clearly you haven't. So there's this big Victorian wall on the right hand side. Just carry on for 100 yards or so, wait for the wall to end, and you'll see there's quite often a little cafe sign, which there is today outside, and then you've got the entrance to what's called the Tortworth Business Park, which is where we're now located, and it's just made life an awful lot easier for us and all our customers. It's that easy to find. So anyway, I hope the video has been a help to you. If there's anything I've missed out on the video, please do contact us, and we'll be able to answer any questions you may have.